LEGO Star Wars 75362 Ahsoka Tano's T-6 Jedi Shuttle is a fun set packed with some great features and even greater minifigures. It does however come with a few flaws which hold it back from being the perfect set it deserves to be. But before we look at those, let's take a look at the awesome selection of minifigures. Starting off with Ahsoka, which features great printing to the front of the torso that flows nicely down the legs and finishes with these odd looking prints to the feet. They're meant to be shoes, but all I can see are two big toes. There's more printing on the back of the torso which is nice, although the orange skin tone doesn't show as bright as the rest of the skin coloured pieces. The issue is also found on the front, but less noticeable as the Laku mostly covers them. The Laku itself is smaller than recent versions, but is more in line to what we see in the live action show. The blue pops really nicely off the white, although it looks as though mine suffered from some minor bleeding from the printing process. Removing the Laku, you'll see two face prints, a chilled relaxed expression and the other featuring a more aggressive look. You can equip both her lightsabers, which look awesome attached to those printed arm pieces. Next up, we have Jedi teacher Hugh Yang. This is another great and long overdue figure. It would appear that LEGO had no information regarding his appearance in the show, as this figure is more of a tan-like colour instead of the grey chrome-like appearance we see in the show. Regardless of the colour, the figure is lovely with some excellent printing to help capture his droid-like features. There's a printed 1x1 tile to the rear, and if we remove this, you'll see more parts and wires printed underneath. The head is a single moulded piece, and I really like the printing to his eyes with the overall shape of the head capturing his character really well. Aside from the wrench, that's it for his accessories, which is a shame as I think a brown utility belt or even a cloth piece would have worked really well here to be used as his work pouch. Onto Sabine Wren, the Mandalorian come rebel, who looks really great here with printing from head to toe and little pops of colour here and there. Similar printing can be found on the back of the torso, but it's unfortunate her arms are left in this plain brown colour. I really think that some extra printing here like Din Djarin's would have looked great and given her armour some extra nice details. The helmet also looks good and like the torso makes use of colours that really pop off. Removing the helmet you'll find two expressions, a simple yet effective smirk and the other showing a more aggressive look. Sabine does come with her signature purple hairpiece which looks really nice on the figure. And lastly, you can either use her green lightsaber or two blasters, or switch it up and have one of each. Our final minifigure is the mysterious character Marok. This is an awesome Inquisitor-like character which makes use of their iconic rotating lightsaber hilts and double blades. The whole figure gives off this awesome medieval knight vibe, especially with his helmet and those broad shoulder pads, which also feature a handy clip to the rear to attach his lightsaber. If we remove the helmet, you'll find a plain black headpiece, and if we remove the shoulder pads, we can see the printing easier to the torso. There's a control panel to the chest and some really nice roughed up armour details all over the figure. The lack of printed arms here doesn't really bother me, as most of the arms are hidden under the shoulder pads. And there we have it, 4 of the best minifigures I've seen in a Star Wars set for some time. Now on to the main build. On the surface, these dark red maroon coloured plates and tiles stand out really nicely against the lighter grey panels underneath. Each wing only makes use of one sticker to help finish off some of the finer details, and there's a few other tiles to fill out some more details elsewhere. There's a really nice shape achieved here with the use of various different triangle shaped plates to help create a reasonably smooth and curved design. To the back of each wing you'll find these little pieces popping out as mini thrusters, and there's a slight recessed gap all the way around the wings that help give some substance to them. At the front of the wings we have our first little feature with the inclusion of 2 stud shooters that can be fired like so. These are neatly built into the wings so they don't look too out of place. The wings are quite sturdy and you can pick the setup like this, although I wouldn't try and hold it for too long with just one wing. Overall the top looks really good. It's a shame the same can't be said about the underneath. As you can see, many of the details from above are absent. Now usually the bottom of ships throughout the LEGO Star Wars theme are quite bland and bare, but you hardly ever see them. For a ship that spins a full 360 degrees, where every angle is usually present, it's a real shame there's no detail underneath. Which is strange as there's a reasonable amount of detail to the bottom of the main body. It even includes this handy feature with this landing gear that helps stop the ship from tipping forward when it's in its landing position. Personally I think the simple inclusion of a few red plates mimicking the design on the top would have looked much better than this grey void of emptiness. Despite having almost double the pieces in the 2011 model, this new version is in fact smaller than the previous. Now I know LEGO have recently been downsizing some of the Star Wars sets over the past few years, which is actually made for some fun and more wallet friendly ideas. The 601 piece count here though does give this version a really solid, good sized build packed with some great details. You'll find most of these extra details to the main body of the ship, with some textured greebling around the sides, complete with a sticker on each side as well. However, it is a shame these pins are blue as they do look a bit out of place. If we look back to the main fin, you'll see it's nicely tiled off and also uses a sticker to each side. When it comes back to the overall size, I think the biggest drawback here is the smaller cockpit, which only has room for one minifigure. Considering we've already seen the ship piloted many times in the show by either Ahsoka with Huyang or even Sabine, it's such a shame we can't at least recreate one of those fun and exciting scenes by having two minifigures sat side by side. You'll just have to sort of awkwardly sit them on the outside of the ship. Yeah, sorry guys. Which brings me to my next point. There is nowhere else to put any of the extra figures in this set. If we look back to the main body, you'll find small storage areas under each side of the fin. One side can be used to store Sabine's accessories and the other side to store Ahsoka's and Huyang's. Even by removing this little workbench, there's still very little room, and while it looks like you can place a figure inside, it just simply won't shut properly. Storage issues aside, the rear of the ship looks really smart with these three large engines looming over this smaller one to the bottom. You'll also see this clear dome piece, which is the turret we see Sabine use in the show. Of course, it's not to scale, but it's nice to see its inclusion. Throughout the set, I do like how minimal the gaps are around the ship, as this allows the main feature, the full 360-degree rotation of the ship, possible. It also helps everything look all neat and tidy, which really helps avoid any clumsy big open spaces. The spinning motion is really smooth and will allow for some very fun playability. The wings rotate perfectly around the body while keeping the cockpit in perfect place. It's also nice to see this feature doesn't affect the set stability, so it really is a solid build that will allow for some fun, compulsory swishing. Despite the good size and its £65 price tag, I can't help but feel this ship would have benefited from being in a slightly bigger scale, perhaps even near the £150 price tag we see for sets such as the Millennium Falcon or the recent Ghost and Phantom 2. I would love to see that extra price tag help give this set just that little bit more usable interior space to play and explore with. This is a near perfect set, with my only other issue being the lack of detail to the underside of the wings. The minifigure selection is amazing and really helps bring this set to life. I would recommend this set if you're a fan of the show or even the Clone Wars, and like most other LEGO sets, I expect we'll see some good sales on this set very soon. Thanks for watching, and if you stick around to the end, I'll link my video showing the speed build of this set, and you can see for yourself some of the brilliant techniques used in this build. If you liked this video, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel to see future content first. Take care and see you all again soon.